Imagine this. You're 35 years old. You make decent money, maybe $60,000, maybe $80,000, maybe even six figures. You pay your bills. You contribute a little to retirement. You don't have a gambling problem. You don't buy Lamborghinis. And yet, your net worth barely moves. Every year feels exactly the same. You get a raise. Life gets more expensive. You save a little. Something unexpected happens. And somehow, you're still standing on the exact same financial step you've been standing on for years. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Because here's the thing. Most people think wealth is built by earning more money. But that's not actually how wealth works. In reality, wealth is built by climbing a ladder. And the strange part? Almost nobody talks about the ladder itself. Everyone talks about investing. Everyone talks about budgeting. Everyone talks about side hustles. But very few people explain the stages that separate someone with a negative net worth from someone with financial freedom. And that's a huge problem. Because if you don't know what rung you're standing on, it's almost impossible to know how to reach the next one. Today, I want to show you the wealth ladder, the invisible framework that explains why some people stay stuck for decades, while others seem to build wealth almost effortlessly. And I can almost guarantee that by the end of this video, you'll realize you've been focusing on the wrong financial goal. Because the biggest obstacle to becoming wealthy isn't usually what people think it is. It's not your income. It's not inflation. And it's definitely not your coffee habit. It's the rung you're currently standing on. Introduction. My name is David Investor, and I spend way too much time thinking about how people build wealth and why so many hardworking people never seem to get ahead. If you're someone who feels like you're doing all the right things financially, but still aren't seeing meaningful progress, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today we're going to talk about something that completely changed how I think about money, the wealth ladder. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The lie most people believe, look, most financial advice starts with one assumption. If you make more money, you'll become wealthier. Sounds reasonable, except the data says otherwise. According to multiple studies on household finances, high-income earners frequently carry massive debt loads and surprisingly low net worths relative to their income. In other words, income and wealth are not the same thing. A person earning $50,000 with no debt and a $100,000 investment portfolio can actually be wealthier than someone earning $200,000 with luxury car payments, credit card balances, and almost no assets. Yet most people spend their entire lives chasing income instead of climbing wealth. That's because income feels exciting. Net worth feels boring. Income is what people see. Net worth is what actually matters. And that's where the wealth ladder comes in. Rung 1, financial survival. The first rung is survival. This is where millions of people live. You're constantly reacting. Every expense feels like an emergency. A broken appliance, a medical bill, a car repair, everything becomes a crisis. According to the Federal Reserve, a significant percentage of households struggle to cover unexpected expenses without borrowing money. Now you might be thinking, well, that's because they don't make enough. Sometimes that's true, but not always. Here's what most people don't realize. The defining feature of the survival rung isn't low income, it's low margin. Margin is simply the difference between what comes in and what goes out. Someone earning $40,000 and spending $38,000 has more financial margin than someone earning $120,000 and spending $118,000. And margin is what creates breathing room. Without breathing room, wealth building is impossible because every dollar you earn is already spoken for. The goal at this stage isn't investing. It's not crypto. It's not real estate. It's not stock picking. It's creating margin. That's it. Rung 2, financial stability. The second rung is stability. This is where emergencies stop being disasters. You have savings. You have some control. Life still throws punches, but now you're wearing gloves. Let's say you save $10,000. Nothing exciting happens. No one congratulates you. You don't feel rich. And that's exactly why most people underestimate this stage. Because stability doesn't feel powerful. It feels boring. Yet this is one of the most important financial achievements you'll ever make. Think of it like building a foundation for a house. Nobody drives by and says, Wow, look at that incredible foundation. But without it, everything eventually collapses. The psychological shift here is enormous. Stress decreases. Decision-making improves. You stop making desperate financial choices. You stop taking bad debt. You stop living in fear. And fear is expensive, very expensive. Rung 3, asset accumulation. Now things start getting interesting. This is where most personal finance advice begins. But the truth is, most people arrive here too early. They start investing before they have stability, which is like trying to build a second floor before finishing the first. Asset accumulation is simple. You consistently buy things that produce value. Stocks, index funds, retirement accounts, businesses, rental properties, anything that puts money into your pocket over time. Let's run some math. Suppose you invest $500 per month. Nothing crazy, just $500. At a 10% annual return, after 30 years, that grows to roughly $1.1 million. That's not because you're a genius. That's because time is a genius. And this is where compounding begins to feel almost unfair. For the first few years, progress looks tiny. Then suddenly the curve starts bending upward. And eventually your investments are earning more than your contributions. That's when wealth starts feeling real. Why most people quit. Here's the problem. Human brains are terrible at understanding exponential growth. We're wired for immediate rewards, not delayed rewards. Imagine planting a tree. For years it barely grows. Then one day it's taller than your house. Investing works the same way. Most people quit because the early years feel insignificant. The gains look small. The account balance feels disappointing. But that's exactly when you need to keep going. Because the first $100,000 is often the hardest. Not mathematically, psychologically. Rung 4, financial independence. This is where the game changes, completely. Financial independence happens when your assets generate enough income to cover your expenses. You no longer need your job to survive. You can still work, but you don't have to. That's a massive difference. Let's say your annual expenses are $40,000. Using the popular 4% rule, you'd need approximately $1 million invested, because 4% of $1 million equals $40,000. Now, the exact number isn't important. The principle is, your freedom is determined by the relationship between expenses and assets, not income. This is why some people making $60,000 retire comfortably, while others earning $300,000 never feel secure. The lower your expenses and the larger your assets, the closer you get to freedom. This is where it gets really interesting. Most people think financial independence is the top of the ladder. It's not. There's another rung, and almost nobody talks about it, because it isn't about money, it's about time. Rung 5, financial leverage. This is the level wealthy people focus on, not income, not investments, leverage. Leverage means creating systems that produce results without requiring your constant effort. Business ownership, large investment portfolios, intellectual property, software, teams, brands, systems. At this level, your time becomes disconnected from your income, and that's incredibly powerful. Think about it. A doctor may earn $300,000 annually. That's impressive. But if they stop working, income stops. A business owner who built systems may earn the same amount while taking months off. The difference isn't intelligence, it's leverage. Here's an analogy. Imagine carrying water. Most people carry buckets, every day, back and forth. Leverage means building a pipeline. The work is harder up front, but eventually the water keeps flowing.